What are we talking about today? We're talking about Riverside. Why are we talking about Riverside? Because we use it to record our episodes. Hey everybody, welcome back to Show Me Your Setup. Today we're focusing on Riverside, our preferred recording platform for collaborative podcast episode recording. I'm Dan, this is Josh, we're Show Me Your Setup. Or rather, we're the hosts of Show Me Your Setup, where we like to get into everyone's gear and examine it in detail and talk about all the nitty-gritty stuff, the technical stuff that makes it possible to create content for podcast episodes. And one of the things that we like to use the most, I have a creaky chair. Let me change out some of my gear while Josh tells you more about what we're going to talk about.
We're all smiles today because we're not going to talk about the physical hardware in our setups today. We're going to talk about the software that we use to record podcasts. We've had great success recording in Riverside. It's available at riverside.fm. It is a software interface that allows you to collaborate with guests, with other hosts, with producers who don't want to be recorded, but want to be present, able to chime in with their thoughts and provide direction. We're going to tell you the good, the not so good, and we're going to answer the question, is Riverside right for everyone that wants to record a podcast? Hi, Dan. Good to have you back. I can't hear you. You're muted.
I had my mic muted when I was moving my desk, and then I started talking without unmuting, and Josh pointed it out. Hi, Josh. It's nice to see you as well. What are we talking about today? We're talking about Riverside. Why are we talking about Riverside? Because we use it to record our episodes. What do we like about it the most? The ease of use, the simplicity. It's really, really easy. We just click a few links and all of a sudden we're recording. And we're not even nearby geographically. We're 2 states away from each other, but we're talking in real time and capturing all of it in as high quality as we want, up to 4K video, 48 kilohertz audio. What are some other wonderful things about Riverside? Glad you asked.
There are no scheduling headaches based on physical location. Everyone who participates gets an email invitation. They click a link, they confirm their settings, and they can start recording right away, no matter where they are.
All it takes is a computer with a Chrome browser, a microphone, and a camera. And a lot of laptops have those built right in.
We like that Riverside provides crystal clear, separate audio tracks. So I can always isolate my audio and my video. It's not delivered together. Everything is separate and everything is recorded locally to each participant's computer.
Good point,
So,
Josh.
yes.
Some people don't understand that. Let's elaborate on it.
Well, yes, you are video conferencing and you can see each other in a live environment over the internet, but the substance that you record will be downloaded to your computer and then uploaded during the recording or right after. And then your editor can grab all those separate audio tracks and work with it.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, even if there's a bit of a dropout in this session between you and I, that's not going to be present in the final recording.
It'll never
because
show
of
up.
the local recording?
Yep.
Fantastic feature right
You'll
there.
never hear it. Your internet just has to be adequate.
Adequate
video
internet is a must. We told you that Riverside records locally, but at the same time, we're able to see the stream, and so we can communicate in real time with participants anywhere in the world. This is all good stuff. What happens if somebody leaves a session and all of their data hasn't uploaded to the cloud? Is that a problem for Riverside?
No, they just keep their web browser open until the recording is complete.
Well, what if they close that web browser? What if they just close the laptop and walk away? Is there anything we can do to recover that extra footage?
Yeah, the host will notice that, hey, I haven't been able to retrieve your audio. You must have shut off your computer right after we said bye-bye. You need to click this link, and Riverside is magically going to retrieve the audio and video that was recorded to your computer and make it available to me, the host, or the editor, so I can download it and use it. Dan, you can probably reword that a lot more
So what you're
simply.
saying is uploads can resume for a variety of situations.
Yeah.
If for any reason the upload is incomplete, it can be completed at a later time simply by having the user click on a link. This is excellent.
Yeah. Another reason we like Riverside is you can have 8 collaborators per session. Those can be hosts, guests, those can be producers who don't want to necessarily be recorded, but they want to be there to hear everything and interject to provide some direction.
Yeah, so you can have 8 people in your session, again, from anywhere in the world. And inviting people is real simple. You can send them an invite directly from this session, or you can send an email. You can have Riverside send an email. You can copy the link and paste it into any email. We've mostly focused on the fact that you can record in Riverside, and we always do ours with video. It can be audio only. That is an option, but it also allows video up to 4K.
Riverside is a web app, so it can be used for a variety of situations and devices, even if your computer is policy restricted. So if your organization doesn't allow you to use Riverside, or if you have no computer.
So you might not be able to use your computer because of corporate IT policies saying you can't share this sort of information. How do you work around that? Riverside has developed an app that's available for both iPhone and Android, and therefore, if you have a phone, you can use that to enter a session.
There may be situations where a particular host or guest is out and about and they're not carrying their computer around with them. Well, they can join the session and participate in a recording with their phone. They can use either of the apps that Dan mentioned for iOS or for Android.
Riverside has a lot of editing features in the app itself. So if you don't have access to your own personal editing suite on your device, you can do the editing in Riverside.
Dan, you were mentioning editing capability right within the web app that integrates with popular editing and transcription software.
In fact, all of your Riverside recordings will be transcribed on the fly by the AI. So moments after you're done with your session, or maybe minutes, you will have not only all the video and audio available, but a full transcript as well. How very handy. And you can download various versions of your recordings as well, as high quality WAV, as MP4, as MP3. It's really up to the editor's preference and the desire for the final outcome. Oh, did we mention Riverside is free? It's not always free, but it can be always free. So there are different tiers. There's a free tier, and then there's a standard tier. Actually, I should go from this side over this side because that's the way the tiers go. They start with the free, and then there's a standard, and then there's a pro, and then there's a whole business class. But we don't need to worry about the business class because we're not talking that big, huge commercial enterprise. We're talking about if you want to try Riverside for yourself, you can dive into the free version and record up to 2 hours and still use the full suite of editing tools. However, you will be limited to 720p video, no 4K for you, and 44.1 kilohertz audio, no 48 kilohertz for you. But once you upgrade, you can get better video and better audio and more options.
Now, what are some of the other things that you need to be aware of when using Riverside? What are some things that could throw you off, throw you a curveball? Well, the free plan is limited in recording time and features.
Mm-hmm.
You may need to upgrade to a higher tier that requires a paid subscription to access the other features that you need. For example, Dan and I got our organization to upgrade so that we could record more frequently and record longer. Riverside is a whole new interface to learn, so there is a moderately high learning curve.
At the same time, we found very, very simple to get most anybody into a session within a few minutes.
Once they're in that session, it just seems right. It seems intuitive. They look around. They know what to do. To record in Riverside, you do have to allow access to your mic and camera. And some users just can't grant that. Frustration might occur if a participant doesn't know how to allow access to their mic and camera. I mean, those are things you've just got to allow if you want to be in the Riverside environment and really be able to interact with the other participants. So it requires the user to pay attention to on-screen messages and have patience.
Just a little bit, just the first time, usually. I guess what we're saying is we've had a few people that have had extreme difficulty getting into our Riverside session, and it takes a while to ascertain exactly why. In one case, it's because that message saying allow camera and microphone access, that was ignored. That little message was just tucked away, pushed off to the side. And so because they wouldn't allow access, Riverside could not let the person in because Riverside is a collaborative recording platform which requires you to allow a microphone and a camera or else it can't get your signal. So you have to say yes. Yes, you may use my devices. Once you've said that in the right place on your device, then Riverside is seamless and easy.
Yep. So there are unsupported browsers.
Safari, we don't think it works. So if you're on a MacBook, use Chrome.
Yep.
Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I'm not going to say one way or the other for sure, but the Chrome version does work. Another thing that could happen is you could have a corporate computer, a company device that has on it some security restrictions IT policies which do not allow you to use Riverside for recording for the same reasons, because it's allowing access to the device and the corporate IT says, no, we can't do that. And so for those users, what we say is, hey, do you have an iPhone? Do you have an Android phone? If you do, there's an app for that. Just go to your app store, download the Riverside app, and you'll be able to click on the link and get into a session with us. In fact, I found that Riverside is really snazzy as an app because if you're holding it vertically, it recommends you turn it horizontally for a better experience. You don't have to. You can record vertically, but you have the option of recording horizontally as well. And Riverside will tell you that. It has lots of friendly reminders on screen, but they're not pushy. It's kind of a fun, casual place to hang out. We think you'll like it, and you can try it for free. Or you could be a guest on our show. There's many ways to contact us. You can comment on our videos on the YouTube channel. You can send us an email to showmeyoursetuppodcast@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, gomodpod.com. If you want, you can hang out with us on Facebook, facebook.com/gomodpod.
There may be other unanticipated tech hurdles like operating system considerations. Some of those permissions that you may have to grant for your camera and microphone may be in your operating system. So you need to slow down and look at the messages that you're presented with and make sure that you allow those permissions. As with any software that is capturing a live stream, there may be some syncing issues, audio-video sync issues. So the dialogue may not perfectly match with the video, and that can require syncing in a video editor.
You know, this reminds me of something. Something we need to do habitually at the beginning, or at least during some point of each of our recording sessions. And that is the big clap. Why do we clap? For aligning audio and video syncing issues. Because if my mouth is moving, but the words are coming out at a different time, it looks very awkward. So, after downloading the video and the audio, we can align them at the big clap.
I think this is a good time to show an example of how folks navigate their way into Riverside FM, what the interface looks like, how a recording takes place, and perhaps how the files are downloaded.
I have suggested it is possible to convey all of that information briefly, succinctly, in less than 60 seconds. And here's an attempt at just that very thing. Joining a Riverside session is so quick and easy, let me give you a walkthrough so you can see for yourself. Click on the link in the invite, opening it in either an Edge or a Chrome browser. I'm using Edge to see how easy it is. You'll see a quick, friendly, rolling out the red carpet. Then this login screen, aka the green room. Notice the big purple button that says Request Camera Permissions? You'll need to click on that button or you cannot record in Riverside. And one more instance. This time your PC is asking if you will allow access to the app for both microphone and camera. Again, you'll need to grant permission or you cannot record in Riverside. Having granted access, you'll now see settings for both camera, microphone, and speakers. We recommend your best webcam, microphone, and headphones be used. Then enter your name so that all participants will know who you are and your files will be labeled appropriately. Choose whether or not you are wearing headphones. We recommend that you do. Then click Join Studio. Congratulations, you're in and you're ready to be recorded as our guest. See? 60 seconds. What did I tell you? I knew it was possible. Josh was like, no way. It's going to take much longer. I'm like, you don't understand. We're going to walk them through the entire thing with visuals, with words, with everything. And see, it worked. Now, what we have to decide is Riverside, the optimal solution for you. And maybe, maybe not. What are some things to consider, Josh?
If you're going to record your podcast solo, so if there is going to be no collaboration with another host or guests, you don't need a producer joining, directing you. You can probably do this in another software package, and you may not need Riverside. And there may be free options, and there may be more affordable options than the Riverside paid tiers.
And if you're in an area with no internet or poor internet, Riverside is probably also not an optimal solution for you because without good internet, it can be a taxing experience. On the other hand, if you have decent internet and you want to collaborate remotely with other people, Riverside is an excellent choice because of all the things we've mentioned.
Yes.
Scheduling is easy. Sending out invites is easy. Recovering lost data that's not really lost is easy. Everything is made easy through the Riverside platform. That's why we like it so much. Also, the warm, fuzzy feeling of rolling out the red carpet never hurts.
Let's talk about the invitation. Let's talk about the process, and let's talk about ModPod. Dan and I both work at ModPod in the production department, and ModPod helps businesses create branded podcasts. It's a way to capture your customers' attention and spend more time with them. Podcast is longer. You can go in depth on things. You can explain what you offer, your policies. And one of the things that we do is actually produce the podcast. So we'll be in your Riverside session with you, and we'll send you your invitations.
And as you can see, it mentions all of the good details that you can join the session from your Chrome or Edge browser, or from a mobile device using the Riverside iOS or Android app.
But generally, there's going to be no software to download. Just click the join session link below. You'll see the name of the show. You'll see the studio that you'll be joining, the virtual studio, and you'll see the date and time. At ModPod, we've customized our invite link. We include more information and more advice for folks so they can jump right in, avoid the hurdles, avoid the problems that we've seen. We've kind of seen it all with folks trying to join Riverside, so we're trying to head off some of the issues with our invitation. If you ever run into problems with Riverside, at ModPod, we offer studio prep, so we're here to help. We can work with you first before your podcast episode. We can even work with your guest so that their sound, lighting, and video is optimal. But we have some tips that we're going to share with you for free. And we also include this in our invitation. So all of the participants will get this. Make sure you're in a quiet and well-lit place. Silence your phone, which I did not do before this session. And turn off audio notifications for all other devices in the room.
Use the latest version of Chrome or Edge browsers. Update your gear, people. If your software says update available, click it. Don't defer. Don't wait till tomorrow or the next day. Why? You're going to limit your experience online. You're going to limit all of your computing experience if you push off the updates. Always take the updates. Slow down and update your device. Now you're ready to record. But what else?
If you happen to be recording from a laptop, make sure it is plugged in and charging.
Good advice. Have you ever been in a meeting with somebody and you watched their power go down and they didn't notice it and all of a sudden they were gone? Plug in your device before you go online. And speaking of plugging things in, it does work best with a wired internet connection because that's going to give you the highest speed, the best bandwidth. If you don't have Ethernet, just try and get closer to the router, as close as possible, for the best possible connection.
Close all other applications, which I have done for this session. I don't have other web browsers running. I don't have my email program running. I don't have my collaborative tools that I normally use with my coworkers.
You turned off Teams just for this session? Oh my goodness, we're going to get in trouble. Nobody can reach out to us. Oh, and you might have noticed if you've watched our episodes, Josh and I are always wearing headphones. It's kind of our thing, being as we work with audio all day long. So yes, wearing headphones makes for an optimal listening experience. And more importantly, it avoids the possibility of feedback loops in your microphone. You know, prevents echo.
Speaking of microphones, if possible, use an external microphone, not the one built into your webcam.
Good idea. In case you guys wanted to leave a comment, go ahead, because you know you're watching on YouTube and it's right there. Just add a comment. But if you happen to be listening to the audio version and you want to find us online on YouTube, you would go to youtube.com/@GoModPod.
So in today's episode 12, we're showing you the Riverside interface for recording podcasts. We believe it's an industry standard and we've had good success with it. We record all of our podcasts in Riverside.
We've used it to record people from all over the world. We've recorded in other countries, other states, other towns, all together, collaboratively, smiling.
What do you think about Riverside? Do you use Riverside to record your podcasts?
Is Riverside the only platform you've used? If you've tried other platforms, is it your preferred platform? We've tried other platforms, and we've landed on Riverside being our preferred platform.
But we would love to hear about your experience. We'd love to hear about the gear that you use to record in Riverside or in any other recording environment. This is Show Me Your Setup, so we'd love to involve you. Are you psyched about your gear? Are you psyched about the software environment that you have?
So, folks, when you're watching, listening, enjoying your episodes, do you ever fast forward? Do you ever skip ahead? Or do you let everything play, including commercials? What kind of a listener are you? Are you an engaged listener who's actively trying to get through things? Or are you a kind of you listen for the sake of just hearing something while you're physically doing something else, and therefore you don't have time to be pressing buttons or engaging with it. You just simply want it to go on and on and on, even if it's a commercial plug for something that's not your episode.
I'm a skipper. Dan listens to the whole thing.
I work in marketing and I need to pay attention to the cutting edge of everything. So if I don't hear ads, how am I going to know what works and what doesn't work for me, the consumer? I wouldn't know if I don't listen. If you tune out all the ads, then you really don't know what's going on in the world. You don't know who's paying for your time. You don't know who's trying to get you if you tune it all out.
If you have cool gear, if you have a cool recording interface, if you're a podcast producer, a guest, or a host, and you'd like to show us what you're doing because you're proud of it, you've experimented with things and you've ended up with a setup that you really like, that works for you, that you'd like to share, email us at showmeyoursetuppodcast@gmail.com. Tell us a little bit about your setup, send us a picture, and we can get a dialogue started. You may be a guest on the next Show Me Your Setup.
What kind of setups do you want to see? In the past, we've shown you setups for recording audio in various spaces. We've shown you the gear that we have in our workspaces. We've brought you on a tour of a professional recording studio for voiceover work. We've brought you on a tour of a studio for video and photo production. What kinds of other studio setups interest you?
We've shown you a mobile sports videography rig.
Would you like to see something on e-gaming? I bet you would. Let's get an e-gamer in here to show you their setup.
What about a live mixing engineer?
Ooh. That's good stuff, too. We might be alluding to future episodes, and we might just be grasping at straws. You'll have to stay tuned to the next episode of Show Me Your Setup to find out.
Our podcast is available at gomodpod.com/show-me-your-setup. You can subscribe to our RSS feed that way so that you'll never miss an episode. We love you to go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@gomodpod, and subscribe there. And we love your YouTube comments. Thank you for leaving YouTube comments. The comments keep coming in for the Digma Defy split keyboard. So thank you. Keep commenting. We'll answer.
Don't be strangers. Just be strange.
You know, Dan, I've recorded a lot of podcasts and a lot of episodes, and I've never used a collaborative tool like Riverside. I've pulled in a phone feed, I've pulled in a Skype feed, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And those have always...
And was the sound always optimal?
No, they've always been limiting in some way. So Riverside has definitely opened me up to the idea of kind of a live video conference environment, but it avoids all of the production glitches that I would have, like with Skype or with a phone interview. There's audio quality issues, there's internet issues that can...
There's that digital distortion of when a word gets strung out.
Yes. Elongated, yep.
And you can't fix that because it's permanently baked in. But with Riverside's local recording and remote upload, you get the best of both worlds.
I've been comfortable with it. I really like the green room aspect where I can tweak my settings before jumping into a room of my collaborators. And I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I know that I sound good. I know that I'm not introducing any bad habits. I know that I'm wearing headphones. My headphones are selected. There's going to be no bleed through from the speakers, that kind of thing. So the green room gives me that confidence.
It goes back to how many people you're working with. If you're working by yourself, Riverside might not necessarily be the ideal solution. And of course, you can find out by testing it for free because it is free. So test it, See if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. However, if you're going to be working with multiple people, we find that this is a really good solution. But we'd also love to hear from you, the listener, the viewer. Have you had good, bad, or otherwise experiences with Riverside? Let us know. We've told you a bunch of times throughout this whole thing how to let us know, so just go ahead and comment. Reach out. We'll respond. Or don't. We'll still respond. Check your inbox. We're already there. Kind of creepy, I know. Who knew? But it's true. Bye.